So welcome to our Hangout on Air. And the subject, of course, is what model of reality do you choose? Knowing who you are not only makes sense, it provides answers, it inspires confidence, and it puts you in the best possible position to make changes in your world. This week, with this one, we've been thinking a lot about the different belief systems that exist in his world. And he was amazed at how obvious the choice becomes when you move away from the need to maintain an old story. Let's look at three models of reality. There's the physical model, which says that the only thing that exists is the physical world. It's the world of the atheist and the materialist. There's a hybrid model, as we call it, a combination of a physical world coexisting with a spiritual world. And this is the world of, the model of, if you like, most religions and spiritual philosophies. And then there's what we're calling the consciousness model, that thoughts create everything, including life on Earth. This is the world of the law of attraction. So we're going to compare what each of these models suggest about different aspects of reality. 1, in the beginning was, obviously, where did we come from? Where do you come from? What are your origins? 2, physicalness is. What is physicalness? 3, life is. What is life? 4, you are. What is the nature of you? And 5, your purpose is. What are you here for? And we'll be giving you our version of the pros and cons of each of those models. So let's start with the physical only model, A. In the beginning was the Big Bang, or something similar in the way of a scientific projection back beyond that which is projectable too, back to something that can't be known. 2, physicalness is real. It's what's formed after the Big Bang. Chemical and physical rules apply to its formation. 3, life is what somehow emerged initially as a single cell life out of the randomness and chaos. 4, you are the result of a gazillion lucky genetic mistakes as human beings evolved, and somehow and somewhere along that trail, consciousness emerged. 5, your purpose is an invalid concept because you're an accident. So, in the physical only model, pros and cons. Pros, it's logical. Physicalness is self-evident and obvious. And it's simple. What you see is what you get. The assumption is that if anything non-physical did exist, it would be verifiable by physical observation, and no such observation has verified the existence of anything non-physical. So it's a simple model and it's logical. Cons. It does not explain life. And 2, it does not explain consciousness. And 3, it doesn't account for the non-physical phenomena that many of you experience and know about personally. So that's the physical only model. Now let's move to the hybrid model, which is a mixture of spirituality placed on top of a physical model. And let's look at those five components again. One, in the beginning was a great spiritual creative power, God or other. Number two, you are a duality, a physical being with a soul or higher self. Three, physicalness is real. A physical you exists in a physical world that you live in and share with others and deal with. It's a creation by God or your higher self or some other creative entity. 4, life is the time you spend on earth in one incarnation or many. 5, your purpose is to follow the will of your creator. Perhaps to serve God or serve your fellow humans, or pass a worthiness test of some sort, or become enlightened about ultimate truth, to grow into new things. And pros and cons for the hybrid model. Pros. It has going for it that it accepts that physicalness is self-evident and obvious, and the world is external. For some, it's a theology that explains your non-physical aspects. The negative parts of this is, 1, it's not simple. As you might expect from a hybrid, it's complex. 2, it's not logical. It offers empirical stories but no complete answers. 3, it supports only a watered-down version of the law of attraction. So now let's look at our preferred model. Let's declare it here up front, which we call the consciousness model. And in those same categories, 1, in the beginning was. Well, there is no beginning in a timeless realm. The source of everything is a timeless, spaceless, collective consciousness. 2, you are a consciousness, a somewhat individuated extension of collective consciousness. By the belief choices you make, you create everything you experience about you and the matching context that surrounds you. 3, physicalness is an artifact of the virtual reality that is life on earth. The world is not something you exist within, it exists within you. The physical you is an avatar in the movie playing in your mind. 4, life is an invalid concept because consciousness has no beginning or end. So life just is, if you like. Consciousness just is. And 5, your purpose is to experience desire and contrast and the joy of creating new things. You are source experiencing itself. So, of our conscious model, what are the pros? 1, it's logical. It's the only model that logically explains everything, including the power you have by law of attraction to create whatever you want. And pros again, it's simple. What are the cons? Well, from a physical perspective, it's not self-evident. If you've long practiced the belief that the world is real and self-evident, it's not easy to accept that it's virtual and then get into alignment with that belief. So let's look at the different predictions these models might make about the question, will humans ever actually create life? The physical model, the scientific model, perhaps, if you will. The answer is yes, probably. And of course, there's a very strong desire to be able to do that. Because if humans can demonstrate that they can create life, then that puts to bed forever the need to have any sort of supernatural ability, some non-physical phenomenon. So under the physical model, can life be created? Probably at some point. Will humans ever create life under the hybrid model? Mostly the answer would be no. Only God can do that. And under the consciousness model, we would say yes, if you believe they will. In fact, you're doing it all the time. You are God. You are procreating, if you like. You are causing new consciousnesses to appear. But the mechanism of that creation and the invitation by which you invite them into your experience doesn't have to be a birth experience. It's up to you which way you allow these interactions with the other parts of all that is that represent the other conscious entities that you're mixing it up with. In this game of life on Earth, you are mixing it up with many consciousnesses, including us. And by the way, everything we are ascribing as properties to you are equally properties to us. But notice that with these three models, the nature of the question changes with the model, because the assumptions about what the question means must be different. Will humans ever actually create life? From a physical model perspective, that means will in a test tube or a petri dish there ever be the formation of something from nothing, which provides a single cell or whatever that can feed upon its environment and grow and reproduce? And of course, when you believe that you're a consciousness, when you understand that you're a consciousness, the whole concept of that changes, doesn't it? Because all the model A and model B are getting into this question from halfway down the food chain, halfway down the chain from all that is to whatever it is that you create. Whereas the consciousness model starts by back at the source and recognizes what's really going on and who you are. So in some ways, it's not a fair comparison, and we concede that. Let's explore the consciousness model a little more. There are some things you cannot change, the absolutes, which describe the essential properties of all that exists. And they are: one, there's a timeless, spaceless entity which is the source of everything. It is all that is. And two, you are a consciousness, an awareness. You are a somewhat individuated but always connected extension of that collective consciousness. And three, the individuation that is you is always a choice about everything, except these absolutes. And this is the essence, this is the foundation, if you will, of all that is, of all that exists. This is the absolutes which you are not a choice about, but everything else is a choice. You began from a desire. You chose to experience contrast and create new things. You evolved through cycles of experience, new desire, new choice, new creation, new experience, and so on. And here, through a gazillion desires, you are in your current form of consciousness, your current shape of consciousness. You are source experiencing itself through individuation and choice. Each new choice creates a new version of you with a new shape to your consciousness. In your current shape, all new belief choices are made at the conscious level. Old choices are stored mostly at the superconscious and subconscious levels of you. Manifestation occurs when choices are aligned across all levels. It's a very simple process. That new version of you that's created when you make a new choice always exists within its own matching context. That context is the container for everything you experience. It has a non-physical structure, the story you've chosen about God and heaven and hell, perhaps angels and archangels, ascended masters, old and young souls, departed loved ones, etc., etc. Those are your choices and your creation, and that non-physical structure is yours. It is a creation of yours. It is what you experience if you choose to believe it. There's a physical structure. It's the virtual reality, space-time story you've chosen about life on Earth in a physical avatar in a physical world. It's the virtual reality you've chosen. You and you alone. It's unique to you. Now, we know that in the face of this world of yours, and as you're mixing it up with other conscious entities, it seems that you are, in fact, co-creating this space. But there are many, many versions of this space. And as you step into a particular version, everything that appears in that version of the movie that's playing in your mind is a match to you. And if you choose to change you, the essence of who you are, by a new choice, then the context which appears around you changes. And you alone are the author of that. So let's sum up the consciousness model. The non-physical things you experience and the physical things you experience are those you have created by your chosen beliefs. That's number one. Number two, each new belief choice you make and align with means a new version of you in a new matching context. And three, what seems to self-evidently be an external world you have to deal with is actually a movie playing in your mind. And everything that appears in that movie is a match at that moment to your vibration. Number four, which means that there is nothing you cannot be, do, or have. And there's nothing you cannot change by making a new choice and aligning with it. And five, aligning, of course, is the tricky part, because you have long practiced thought habits. But anything you can imagine is possible. So if the logic of this model appeals to you, let's look at the practical steps you can take to make choices and get into alignment with them. Let's practice some alignment. Get comfortable. Close your eyes. Here are some questions to ponder. Think about these. What do you want to change about your life? Or what is the adventure that you'd like to step into? What is the adventure you'd like to step into? What would you like to change? Now imagine yourself into a world where your dreams have already come true. Be in that world and see it through your eyes as if you were in it. As you are being in it, see the world around you. Be in that world and experience the power and the peace of it. Feel the fun and the freedom of it. And of course, then we say repeat, repeat, repeat. Practice this new world. Practice this new world. Repeat, repeat, repeat. So in all of this, we are encouraging you here to understand your belief choices. Believe in the truth of who you are. It doesn't matter if in your here and now unique version of reality, there are many who don't understand the consciousness model, because that too is a part of your creation and may be changed. Each new belief choice you make and align with means a new version of you in a new matching context. What sort of world do you want to live in? As you imagine yourself into that world where your dreams have already come true, see that as the reality you're stepping into. Focus more and more on that reality and less on the temporary illusion that now surrounds you. Live your life within the context of these two important questions. How do I feel? And what do I want? How do I feel? What do I want? Dwelling from, not upon, the space you want to inherit is the fastest way to change absolutely everything. And now we will be moving to our member conference call and our longer discussion and questions. And of course, we invite you to join with us in that realm, in that sphere. Good.